pleasure to be here today. It's always fun to talk to people about my passion, which is startups. And more importantly than startups, it's positioning them so that they can grow and become productive companies. I have been working with startups for quite a number of years, both here and in California and Silicon Valley, and actually all over the world. I've consulted on 3 continents now. And there are a lot of things that kind of happen over and over and over again. One of the things that's happened since I got to New Mexico is that I have expanded my consultancy range beyond just tech startups, which is where I started, and am working a lot with a variety of small businesses. And as you can see from the boards that I'm sitting on right now, I'm in a position where I can indulge in my passion for helping companies grow through the organizations that I'm working with. I'm going to talk to you about the 4 pillars of what I see as important when you're putting together a company. But beyond that, I want to talk about the second stage growth, because this is where a lot of companies founder. There's a big difference between starting a company and having it develop and becoming a generator of jobs and a generator of serious income. And so as we talk through what a startup is all about, I want to keep in the back of everybody's mind that we've got to get to that next step. So stepping back a little bit, let's talk about getting through that startup stage. And I posit that these 4 items here are absolutely critical to moving forward and getting that company up and running, funded, and able to move into that next step where it starts generating jobs and really throwing off profits and also supporting the community through taxes. First one is passion. And what I always saw with the companies that I was working with in Silicon Valley was that they were crazy about what they were doing. It was the kind of thing where people would stay until midnight, 1 o'clock in the morning. I remember spending the night sometimes just so that I could get a project completed. And, you know, really being driven by what it was that they were doing. I suggest to you that as you're going forward, those of you who are putting together something new, that you think about this, because the passion is what's going to sustain you when the going gets rough. The next area is leadership. Passion is dynamite, but passion can get you into trouble. One of the things that happens about passion is you don't know when to stop. Another thing that happens about passion is that you may not be able to deliver it to the other people that you're working with, because every startup is going to require more than one person to get it off the ground. So you have to think about this leadership piece, about focusing, about bringing people in, harnessing their energies, getting it in alignment with your energies, and really moving forward to get your product up, tested, and out the door. The third part is funding. Does anybody in here think that they can create a company without getting a little bit of other people's money? It's tough. It's real tough. And, you know, I love those stories about people that lived on their credit cards for 2 or 3 years and mortgaged their house down to the last percentile and survived. But I would be willing to bet that if you took a survey that a lot more of those kind of failed than kept on going. Other people's money is important because it allows you to move at a pace that you can move. It's important because you're getting validation. Somebody else is looking at your idea and saying, okay, you know, I see the potential to grow in there. And the third thing is that you want to pick your other people very carefully, because they can offer a lot more than money. They can offer their own background and advice, and you want to make sure, first of all, that you take advantage of that, because the reason why they have money is because they've been successful in the past, most of the time. And the other thing is that if they aren't in alignment with your goals, it doesn't matter how much money they're willing to give you. It's not going to work in the long run. So look at this as the opportunity that it is. You have like family and friends that can donate. And they may or may not have some good information for you. But then you have angels, you have venture capitalists, and the cost of the money is kind of going up as we go along. You can get grants. I think probably a lot of you have taken advantage of that. And then you can get into more traditional types of funding, which are like bank loans and factoring and other things like that. But you have to be there. You have to be proven before you get to that point. The other thing that you have to pay attention to is you have to make sure that you've got the right amount of money at the right time. It's real easy to say, got past that hurdle, now I've got money, and not think about positioning yourself for the next round. I was consulting with a company, and they were rocketing along, and I kept on hearing, well, yeah, we're going to have to go out for money in 3 months, and I kept on saying, well, what are you doing about that? Well, nothing. We don't have to go out until 3 months. Well, you really do not wait until the last minute, because getting rounds of funding, especially these days, takes a lot longer than anybody's going to guess. And so you want to be constantly putting that in your plan and making sure that you've got the money that you need. I think the folks here that are looking to start a company have definitely the technical savvy. You understand the field that you're in. But I want to posit that the other part of knowing what you're doing when you start a company is understanding the technical savvy of business and really spending some time learning about what businesses are all about before you go out and start this stage. Even if your plan is that you're going to be the CTO, you aren't going to shoot for president and be the be-all and end-all of the company. You want to have some basic understanding of the requirements of business as you're going out there, so that you aren't dependent on other people to explain it to you. It will make a huge amount of difference in the success of your company. Knowing how to develop a great product is not the same as knowing that people will want it, or how to build it cost effectively and deliver it to them. Big companies can afford missteps or two and still survive, which is getting back to the point that if you're a startup, if you're looking to start a company, you have to be more nimble. There are things that an entrepreneur needs in terms of flexibility and openness to change, that change as things move into larger organizations. But you have to be aware of it as you're moving in.